All right, welcome to week 12, day 1, part 2. So, first of all, you're going to have a Zybooks on security. So that'll be due next, or this Sunday, I guess. So read about security issues on Zybooks. And we are going to talk about cryptography today. So the PowerPoint has been posted. Now, what is cryptography? Cryptography, it was fun shooting for the moon and not making it, I guess. Make sure you come to the extra credit opportunities. So cryptography means like secret writing, something like that. And what it is you're trying to send a message to somebody, and what you want is like if it gets intercepted, you don't want other people to be able to understand it. So like let's say I'm President Lincoln, hopefully with better outcomes in the future than President Lincoln had in real life. And you're General Sherman, right? And I'm trying to send you an order to like I don't know, attack, you know, some railway or something like that, And I don't want, like, if the courier gets intercepted, I don't want people to know that I'm ordering you to attack Richmond or something like that. Because then the Confederates would be able to put down mines on the road and build defenses and get a lot of people killed. So what I would do is turn my message into a secret code of some sort that looks like gibberish, and then send that with the courier. Now, there is also like physical security. Like one famous example, I think there was I think the Confederates embedded like a secret message into a cigar. And then, like, the scout got captured, and they're like, ooh, free cigar. And they're like, oh, what's this? And they pull the secret message out. So you can try, like, physically hiding things. But in general, cryptography means you're trying to turn a message in plain text, which means, like, attack Richmond, into a secret message it looks like garbage, that nobody can understand. But the person who receives it can decipher it and get the original message back. And so General Sherman would know, okay, I'm supposed to attack Richmond now, or something like that. So the most basic form of cryptography are like substitution ciphers, or Caesar ciphers, are sometimes called. And so, for example, if I have somebody give me a secret message they want me to encrypt, it's like a Caesar cipher might be something like this, like where for every letter they pick another letter that it like substitutes to. So like C becomes Z and D becomes F and things like that. Or if you want an even simpler one, you can be like, you can just like add 3 to every letter. So did that happen already? Yes. The extra credit was over spring break. So somebody give me a secret message they want me to encrypt. And I will use a +3 substitution cipher on it. Delete my browser history. Okay. Delete my browser history. Okay. So the letter D, and then we're going to add 3 letters to it. D, E, F, G. Okay. And then the letter E, F, G, H. And the letter L, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O. And then E is H, and then T, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W.
Are you teaching them cryptography?
I am teaching cryptography, that is correct. M, what is 3 letters past M, Ada? What is 3 letters past M?
What?
What is 3 letters
3
past
plus
M? M plus 3.
M.
M? What's the next letter?
N, O, P.
P, okay. What is 3 letters plus Y? Y plus 3. Y?
X.
No, X is before it.
Y, Z.
Okay, Y. So Z. Then what's after Z?
A.
A.
B.
B. Okay. Good. And then B?
Plus what?
Plus 3.
E, F.
No, B.
F.
B. What letters after B?
L, E.
Huh? What?
I haven't memorized the alphabet. I know
The
alphabet.
B is the second letter.
I know, but
What letters after B?
I don't know the exact order.
A, B. What's after B?
C.
C. Okay. What's the next one?
D.
What's the next one?
E.
There you go. Okay. L, M, N, O, P, QRSTU. Yeah. Let's bring it back with a full tank of gas, okay? I don't know what happened here. Okay. That's the idea here. All right. It's somewhere. Good luck. Okay, that's the idea. And then if you want to decrypt it, what you do is you subtract 3 off every letter. So G, 3 letters before G is D, and 3 letters before H is E. Yeah, that's the perfect. It's literally what the that meme is about, by the way, from the show. Okay, so you encrypt it by adding 3 to every letter, and you decrypt it by subtracting 3 off the secret message, and you get delete my browser history back, right? Does that make sense to you guys? Having I like your funny words, Magic Man. But do you guys see that? Like, this is what, like, President Lincoln would write. He would write down, right, and he sends it off, to General Sherman, and then General Sherman gets the message, he subtracts 3 off every letter, and he's like, delete my browser history. He's like, oh shoot, Lincoln must be dying, and he races home and burns his browser history. Okay. You guys understand? So the most famous substitution cipher actually is called ROT13. And ROT13 means you add 13 to every letter. And the reason why this is fun is because there's 26 letters in the English language. So if you do it twice, it goes from being decrypted to encrypted to decrypted again, and it's very easy. So if I wanted to send a message, delete my browser history, then it turns into that. And if I send that off to you, and then you paste that, you get the original message back. And yes, this is how you get your hacker name. And so my hacker name is Avi X Real. A friend of mine, Nate Beal, his hacker name is Anger Orney. And if anybody wants a hacker name now, I will pause the recording and punch your name in on this. Okay, so that was your hacker names. If you have access to a ROT13 calculator, you can encrypt and decrypt things freely using that. You can find a website also that does the same thing. Okay, so pretty clearly that's not a very secure system, right? Like, anybody who gets a ROT13 message would be able to decrypt it themselves. And so what makes modern cryptography a lot more interesting is that starting in the 70s, there were these MIT guys called Reves, Shamir, and Adelman. And over, I think, a bottle or 2 of wine, they came up with a pretty interesting system where even if you published the algorithm and you knew every detail about how it worked, you still would not be able to hack the message. You wouldn't be able to decipher the message, even if you were able to intercept it, right? So if I send a message, from me as Lincoln over to General Sherman using RSA, even if somebody intercepted that message, and even if they knew how I had encrypted it, they would not be able to decrypt it, which is really, really interesting. It's a one-way algorithm. They have the encrypted message, they have the way that I encrypted it, but there's no way for them to go back easily and find out what my original message was, which is pretty cool. So pretty much all modern crypto systems. Let's see here. So every time you go to a website, by the way, you want to look to see if there's like a S right there. A little S right there. That means that it's a secured connection. Okay. If you just use HTTP, that's unsecured. HTTPS, the S stands for secured. And so if you go there, you will see that there's a little lock icon. And you can click on the lock icon and get information on it if you want. And you can see here that I visited this website 1,700 times. It's encrypted by the advanced encryption system, SHA-384 hash, TLS 1.3 to secure the connection, things like that. And so it is a secured connection. Anytime you go to your bank online, you definitely do not want your password and username to be easily interceptable, because then people will be able to log in as you, right, on your bank and transfer money out of it. So you definitely want to make sure anytime you're doing anything that matters, you have that little lock icon there and that you're doing an HTTPS connection. And if you read the Zybooks, it'll explain to you how this thing works in kind of not super detail. If you want super detail, take my CSI 26 class, also known as CSI 60 at Fresno State. This doesn't make any sense to your small brain. It's math, and so it's based on the notion. If I can explain it in one sentence, it's based on the notion that it's a lot easier to multiply two numbers together than it is to factor them. So you might think, oh, that doesn't seem right. 3 times 5 is 15. But if you factor 15, like, it's easy. It's just 3 times 5. As it turns out, factoring things is actually really hard. If you're talking about numbers that are like 300 digits long, you're talking about like the heat death of the universe in time to like factor them into their component parts. And even if you had a fast way of doing that, well, you can just make the number 1,000 digits long, 5,000 digits long. It's very easy to multiply two numbers. It's very hard to factor them back out. And that's essentially the fundamental observation that RSA made, Rivest, Shamir, and Alleman made. The system takes two numbers and multiplies them together. And the only way you can undo that is if you have what's called the private key. And so you publish a public key, you have a private key, they encrypt it using the public key, they decrypt it using the private key. There's a mathematical relationship between the two based on remainders and multiplication, things like that. Like like you have to have some math skills to actually understand what's happening there, but that's kind of the basic idea, what kind of underlines all of it. Jokes on them, there's no money to take, right? You're just wasting those hackers' times. Yeah. Okay. So so with modern day cryptography, we can make it possible to communicate securely with each other without the government being able to intercept. Well, they can intercept, certainly. If you look at the internet exchange points, like the NSA is scooping up data, you're basically copying all of the internet. Like all the data flowing through the internet can be intercepted by the NSA and stored in one of their various mega storage facilities. Basically, the US government has the ability to intercept anything you say or do on the internet. But can they decrypt it? That's a good question. So if you want to get your participation points for today, give me some pros and cons for it. So with cryptography, you were able to send something to one of your friends. Like if you use Signal, for example, as your messaging app, you can send a message to your friend that the government has no ability to read. What is the pro? What is the good thing of that? I want you to write down, if you want to get your participation points, write 2 sentences. One, something good about that you're able to write something securely to your friend that the government can't read. And 2, I want you to give me a con. What is a downside to the ability to send things without the government able to read? So as critical thinkers, we always want to think in terms of pros and cons. There's good things about most things. There's bad things about most things. And we decide if we like it or not based on the relative weighting of the pros and cons. And while you guys are typing that, I'll give you guys the participation credit in a bit. You have to do both a pro and a con, mind you. Don't just do one. And put them on the same response so I can see that you did both. I don't want to scroll up and down. So edit your response if you have to, and put both of them together. I'm going to go over one more fallacy for you guys. This is something called the genetic fallacy. The genetic fallacy is related kind of to the ad hominem fallacy. The genetic fallacy is based on the origin of an argument. And so, for example, if you are the Catholic Church and you hear an argument made by, some Hindu guru or something, you just dismiss it because it comes from a different religion, that would be a genetic fallacy. Anytime you attack an argument based on its origin, it's a genetic fallacy. And that's why it's called the genetic fallacy. It's like where it comes from. Right? So the most famous example of this is saying that argument came from Hitler, therefore it's wrong. Right? But look, like Hitler drank water, that doesn't make drinking water wrong. Right? Hitler loved animals, that doesn't make loving animals wrong. Hitler presumably thought that 2 + 2 = 4. Hitler did a lot of horrible things and believed a lot of horrible things. That doesn't mean that everything he said is wrong. Every argument that you make has to stand on its own merits, right? And this fallacy is so common that it actually has its own name. It's called a reductio ad Hitlerum. So anytime you compare somebody with Hitler or say, well, Hitler did that, therefore you're evil, or anything along those lines, you call somebody Nazi, for example, that is a reductio ad Hitlerum. It is so common on the internet. There's actually a law for the internet called Godwin's law, which says that as people debate on the internet, the probability that one of them will call the other person Hitler or a Nazi or something like that asymptotically approaches 100%. So don't be that person, right? Like evaluate somebody's arguments on the merit. You don't need to mention Hitler and the Nazis on every single thread. So I will end with this. Hitler was a vegetarian. Don't be like Hitler. This is an advertisement for Super Meat Boy, which is a platformer that came out a while ago, but still got a pretty relevant meme for today. Bro, I once said that Irwin from AOT gives better speeches than Captain Americans. That dude somehow turned it into saying I'd listen to Hitler. Yeah, exactly. Like it's just one of those internet things where just like when 2 people that don't know each other are talking, like the odds that they'll mention Nazis or Hitler or something asymptotically approaches 100% over time. So buying Super Meat Boy. Not a bad game. It's not a bad game. It's yeah, let me know. That's pretty old though. WiiWare. Yeah, that is pretty old. Okay, so let me I'm gonna stop the recording now, and I'm gonna read over your comments and give you guys your participation points. So yeah, cryptography, hiding your stuff can be very useful. It prevents criminals from getting access to your data, but criminals can also use cryptography to hide their illicit activities from the government. So we're going to rob the bank tomorrow, and if the government can't read it, then, the crime might go forward. And that's why we have like wiretapping laws. The government can spy on people legally and things like that. And with crypto systems, modern crypto systems, like the law enforcement oftentimes is just stymied. Like they just don't have any ability to, wiretap somebody if they're using Signal or something like that. If you're using normal SMS, they can tap and read everything you say. But if you use Signal or one of these secure messaging apps, then they don't have any ability to read your communications. Okay, so that is it for today. I'm going to hang out for a little bit reading your responses, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Peace.